Oh shit! Stay in the corner.
This is Hector Gonzalez Jimenez, a 27-year-old man from Oregon who drove to Tacoma for a weekend with his boys. He met a dancer at a strip club, paid her $1,500 to come back to his hotel room with him, but the hotel staff found him dead before the sun came up. And the scariest part is not how he died, it is how carefully the whole thing was planned before he even walked through that club door. Hector Gonzalez Jimenez was not a complicated man. He was 27, he grew up in Eagle Creek, Oregon, a small, quiet town east of Portland, out in the hills, and the people in his life knew him as the type of guy you could actually count on. He was the kind of person whose absence leaves a real hole, because he was genuinely present when he was alive. No street life or drama, just a regular young man from a small town who worked hard and showed up for the people he cared about. In late August of 2024, Hector and a couple of his boys packed up and drove from Oregon up to Tacoma, Washington for the weekend. Nothing deep about it, just some friends who wanted to get out of the house, have a good time somewhere new, and head back home Sunday. On the night of August 24th, going into the early morning hours of August 25th, the group ended up at Dream Girls at Fox's, a strip club on Pacific Avenue in Parkland, right outside Tacoma. Inside that club, Hector connected with a dancer going by the name Armani. Her government name was Ashley Danielle Arrieta, and she was 26 years old.
I do remember he danced with me. And I think after a while he got danced with me again.
Like 2 dances?
Yeah. I don't know how many dances we danced, but I do know that we probably danced again that same night, maybe.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you guys get to the point of the numbers getting exchanged?
That's where, I don't really remember. I just remember, that we danced, but I also don't remember the total of dances that we, had together.
Yeah, that's fine. Did he offer his number? Did you ask him for his number? How does that work at the strip club?
Either whoever asks or exchanges it first.
What happened between Hector and Ashley that night at the club was not unusual for that kind of environment. He got a couple of dances, they talked, and somewhere in that back and forth, the two of them made a plan to link up later at his hotel. Hector agreed to pay her $1,500 and sent it to her Zelle account immediately. His friends were right there and saw it happen. One of them watched Hector talking to the dancer and found out that Hector was planning to go meet up with her after the club. What he did not know, and had no way of knowing, is that Ashley had already set the whole thing up to rob him before he ever got close enough to say hello. Before we get into what happened in that hotel room, you need to know who Ashley's boyfriend, Jamari Webb, actually was, because this man did not stumble into this situation. He had already caught a first-degree robbery conviction back in 2018, and that conviction meant the law permanently banned him from owning or even touching a firearm.
Sorry, ahorita no me tengo que reír, pero las pastillas yo sé que te dan como efectos.
Aparte, ¿sabes qué sentía, mija?
El maestro, I put that bun on it. Blow back. I better know that.
Around 3:20 in the morning on August 25th, Hector checked into his room on the 5th floor of the Holiday Inn on South C Street in Tacoma. Hotel cameras picked him up in the lobby by himself on his phone, looking completely relaxed because as far as he was concerned, he was just waiting on a girl to show up. Hector even hit his boys on Snapchat, letting them know he was at the hotel waiting on her to pull up. About 15 to 16 minutes later, Ashley walked through those lobby doors carrying a white grocery bag and went straight up to his room. A couple of minutes after that, Jamari Webb walked through those same doors wearing a pair of white slip-on shoes that would later become some of the most important evidence in this entire case and took the elevator to the same floor. Everything that happened after that was behind a closed hotel room door. The hallway cameras could see people going in and coming out, but they could not see what was happening on the other side. What they captured coming out of that room, though, along with everything investigators would later find inside, would eventually tell the full story of what went down. The next morning, hotel staff noticed Hector had not checked out. Around 11 in the morning on August 25th, they went into the room and found him on the floor in a pool of blood. They called 911 and at first told the dispatcher it might be a suicide.
911, what are you reporting?
Hi, this is my name is Carlos. I'm calling from the Holiday Inn Express downtown Tacoma.
Okay. What's going on there?
My maintenance guy went to go check on one of the guests here that we've been having a problem with, and he said we need medical assistance here now.
Okay. Is this at 2102 South C Street in Tacoma at the Holiday Inn Express?
Right, yeah. So this is the third call.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, one moment. Let me get you over to TFD, okay?
Okay.
Fire medical aid.
Southbound with a transfer at... One moment. Southbound with a transfer at 2102 South C Street in Tacoma at the Holiday Inn Express.
Thanks, Southbound. Hi, caller. What's the emergency there?
Hi, my maintenance guy was going to check on the guest in the room. And
I can't hear you.
Do you hear me now?
That's better.
Sorry. Gotcha. So my maintenance guy went to go check on the guest in the room, and he just called me down and said, please call medical assistance right now.
Okay, what room number?
520.
Do you know what's going on in that room?
No, I don't. I'm at the front desk. He's upstairs on the 5th floor, and he's just telling me to call for help right now.
Okay, well, I can get a unit started, but I kind of need some more information to be able to send you the right resources. I need to know if the person is just sick or if they're not breathing. Do we need to start CPR? Is the person overdosing? So do you think you can get in touch with your manager, whoever's upstairs, and find out a little more information?
1 second, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Alright, they're coming down now. I'm sorry about that. Just checking out.
Okay.
Alright. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, sir. They're coming up now.
So do you need the fire department?
No, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. They're coming down now to let me know what they need. They just called for an emergency, so I just called. I didn't really ask any questions.
Okay. Well, I'll hang on while you get some more information for me.
Okay. We need medical. Oh my God. Yeah, we need assistance now.
So I've got a unit heading your way, but I need some more information to know if I need to send additional units or what.
Yes.
What's going on with the person?
We need an ambulance here. It's real bad.
Tell me what's going on.
The guest is hurt. Looks like
an injury? Like they took a fall or something, or what?
Yes. I have a lot of people in the lobby. I can't really.
Okay, but the person's breathing?
No.
The person is not breathing?
Hi, I'm the housekeeping supervisor here at the Holiday Inn Express, and we have a side in one of our units.
You have a side in one of your units. So the person is deceased?
Yes.
Or a side attempt?
Deceased. I just saw the body.
Deceased. Okay. All right. I appreciate you getting on the phone and giving me good information about that. Now we can get the appropriate resources going out there.
Yeah.
So this is in room... Sorry, room 520.
520, yes.
Police showed up with the paramedics but could not save him, and the Pierce County medical examiner confirmed it was a homicide from a gunshot wound to the chest. The hotel room was full of evidence. There was a bloody white slip-on shoe sitting just outside the door with DNA from 2 different people on it, a white grocery bag with a Safeway receipt inside sitting in the room, and a receipt from Dreamgirls at Fox's found near Hector's body. Hector's own gun was still in its holster right next to him, and the ammunition magazine was resting on his neck, which told investigators he had tried to reach for it. A necklace was broken and lying in the room, probably snapped off during a struggle, and Hector's phone was gone. The Safeway receipt inside that room led investigators straight to the store's security camera footage, which saw a couple buying a $28 bottle of tequila the evening before in the exact same clothes that would later show up in the hotel footage. A detective out of Federal Way looked at the police bulletin that included the Safeway images and recognized Ashley immediately. Investigators started watching Ashley's home and saw a man walking her 2 daughters to school one morning wearing a Chicago Bulls cap that matched exactly what the man in the Safeway footage had on. That was Jamari. On September 17, 2024, 3 weeks after the murder, detectives followed both of them to a park in King County and arrested them right there. Ashley had a white slip-on shoe in her car. When investigators searched Jamari's apartment, they found the other one. The shoe that matched the one left outside the hotel room door, the one with Hector's blood and both men's DNA on it. Hector's phone was recovered along State Route 509 near Fife, tossed from a moving car. With the arrest came access to their phones, and what investigators found on those phones told the rest of the story. While Hector's body was still on that floor that morning, while his boys were calling and texting and not getting any answer, Ashley and Jamari had gone home and started making plans. They talked through their wedding in detail, went back and forth on whether to honeymoon in Cancun or Hawaii, and even discussed moving down south somewhere they could buy a house for $15,000 to $20,000. They treated a man's death like a small bump in the road they had already driven past. The prosecutor who handled this case, Suni Ko, described their behavior in her sentencing paperwork in a way that is hard to argue with. She wrote that the two of them moved on as if taking a life was just a momentary glitch they needed to overcome. Now, through the investigation, through the evidence recovered from the room, the Zelle records, the phone data, and Ashley's own interview with detectives, prosecutors were able to piece together exactly what had happened behind that closed hotel room door. Here is what they found. The money that Hector sent had already hit her account at the club, and the moment it did, she sent Jamari a single heart emoji, the signal they had agreed on ahead of time that meant the money was through and he could move. Ashley walked into the room first. Shortly after, Jamari knocked on the room door and stepped inside. The moment he walked in, Hector looked at him and asked who he was and why he was in his room. He had never seen this man before and had not invited anyone. He had no idea what was happening. Jamari had brought a handgun into that room despite the lifetime ban on him touching any firearm, pressed it to Hector, and forced him to go through his own backpack and pull out cash. But Hector did not just give up. He reached for his own gun that he had brought along for protection, and when he did, Jamari beat him and then shot him once in the chest. When detectives brought Ashley and Jamari in for questioning separately after the arrest, the difference between the two was immediate. Jamari shut down straight away and told detectives he was not answering any questions.
Having been made fully aware of these rights, do you voluntarily wish to answer questions?
No.
You do not?
No.
Okay.
This is not an admission of guilt. This is just saying that we advise you of your rights, okay?
Yeah.
So just sign there for me, please.
Ashley sat down and agreed to talk. However, what she did for most of that conversation was pretend she couldn't remember things that the hotel cameras had already caught on tape.
When was the last time you were at the Holiday Inn?
I can't remember. I don't know.
Is that a place you typically go?
No.
Okay. Are we talking like days, weeks, months, years?
Never been there.
Okay. You've never been to the Holiday Inn or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
You ever
That
been
was
to
my
a
first
Holiday
time.
Inn? Oh, that was your first time? Can you tell us what happened?
Don't remember. I'm pretty sure I was really drunk. I don't know.
Okay. What do you remember of that day?
I was working at my strip club. I work on the weekends.
Where do you work?
Foxes.
What time do you start work there?
Normally I go in like a little bit after 10, but before 11.
How long are you usually there? What's your shift?
Till close.
She told detectives she did not know his name, could not remember how she got to the hotel or recall the floor, the room number, or what went on inside. She blamed it on drinking, and every single time that detectives came at her with something they already had from the cameras, another piece of her memory suddenly reappeared.
So this whole thing, like, we've been watching this for a long time, going through this whole thing, even today. Purposely didn't try to contact you when you guys had your kids in the car, any of that, to do you that favor, okay? But we're sitting here and you're saying you don't remember things
Thank you.
that I know you do remember them.
You said what?
But we're sitting here now and you keep telling me you don't remember things that I know you do remember. You know how you got there, you know what happened in the room, you know how you left. Those are the blanks you gotta fill in for me.
You said what? Sorry, those are the what?
Those are the pieces that I need, the blanks that you keep leaving that you gotta fill in.
This is your opportunity to talk to us and to get your side of the story of what happened. Detective Ritchie's really throwing you a lifeline here of how nice he's being with your convenient amnesia of you remember some stuff, but you don't remember some other stuff. And if we present the whole case to you, being an objective observer to this thing, what you're telling us doesn't really add up. You were there, you know you were there. If you were sick, you were sick, whatever. You went up there. There was some interaction in the room that you say you don't remember how you left, but you remember everything else. Right?
I'm trying to remember everything.
We know you got kids. Are they Amari's kids?
No.
Or Jamari's kids?
No.
They're somebody else's kids. So they're your kids, not common kids with him.
No.
So you're the primary caregiver for them?
What is wild about this interview is how much she actually confirmed once the detectives made it clear they already had the footage. She admitted the Zelle payment went through and that she sent the heart emoji to Jamari as the signal that she had been paid.
Over.
I sent a heart.
You sent the heart. And that's the symbol that says, hey, money's in the bank type of thing, or, yeah. Have you used that before on other, like, transactions like this?
Not that I remember.
Not that you remember. Maybe not the art, but do you send something like paid, or do you send something like that? That's like the cue, like, yeah, okay, money.
Not really, because, like I said, he's not my pimp, and sometimes I go by myself.
Okay.
She admitted she was in that room when Jamari knocked and that Hector opened the door and that she stepped out right after Jamari walked in. She heard nothing unusual before she left and that when she found Jamari at the car, he was breathing hard but did not seem shaken. But she drew a hard line at everything that came after that. She insisted she did not know Jamari had a gun and had no plan to rob Hector or touch any of Hector's belongings.
A lifeline here of how nice he's being with your convenient amnesia of you remember some stuff, but you don't remember some other stuff. And if we present the whole case to you, being an objective observer to this thing, what you're telling us doesn't really add up. You were there, you know you were there. If you were sick, you were sick, whatever. You went up there.
The detectives were not buying it. The jury would not either, because no amount of selective memory could explain away the fact that she was the one who set up the meeting.
Are you saying you weren't there, or you just don't remember being there?
Don't remember.
Okay.
Ashley and Jamari showed up for arraignment on September 19th, 2024, with bail set at $1 million each.
A promise of sex with a stripper lured an out-of-towner to his death. Investigators say the duo responsible left a shoe behind, leading to a break in this case.
The murder took place in August, but the trail of clues led investigators throughout Western Washington. As Fox 13's AJ Janival reports, the planned attack seems to have been schemed up at a local strip club.
What was supposed to be a fun trip with friends from Oregon up to Pierce County turned deadly, the victim paying about $2,000 for what would ultimately be his death. Today, his family drove up from Portland for court.
26-year-old Ashley Arrieta and Jamari Webb sat in court Thursday. Webb sitting in front of a judge on his 24th birthday, both facing murder charges for a sex-based robbery scheme that ended with the death of a man visiting from Oregon. According to the documents, police found the unnamed victim with a bullet in his chest and his zipper down in this hotel room in Tacoma. The documents say the victim met Arrieta at the strip club Dream Girls in Parkland. There, the two made a plan to meet later. The victim would pay Arrieta $1,500 for sex, according to the documents. In the court papers, Arrieta told police she went to this Tacoma hotel, but she didn't come alone. Surveillance video captured Jamari Webb, a convicted felon with a prior robbery, in tow with Arrieta. The stripper admitted to investigators. Once the $1,500 for the agreed sex with the victim dropped in her account, she sent the signal to Webb, a heart emoji text. Webb then knocked on the door. It's unknown exactly what happened inside the room. The video cameras captured both Arrieta and Webb walking out of the hotel about 10 minutes later, but the victim never leaves. The staff member found him in a pool of blood on the floor of his hotel room hours later. Investigators believe the suspects tried to hide their tracks by stealing the victim's phone, then tossing it out of the window of their car as they escaped. But probable cause documents say the alleged killers were sloppy, leaving behind a lot of evidence, including a shopping receipt from a Federal Way grocery store and a slide-type shoe. Police say they found the other shoe under Webb's bed during a search.
Both suspects face murder charges. The judge put a $1 million bail for each of them. They're expected back in court in early October.
Hector's family drove up from Oregon to be in that courtroom. They sat there and watched Ashley and Jamari stand up and say not guilty. The trial happened in October of 2025. Jamari's team tried to argue self-defense and that the killing was not part of the robbery plan. Ashley's lawyer argued she had no reason to believe Jamari was armed and never wanted Hector to get shot. On November 4th, 2025, the jury came back and convicted both of them on every single charge, first-degree murder and first-degree burglary, both with firearm enhancements. Sentencing came on November 21st, 2025. Both of their defense attorneys asked the judge to combine the murder and burglary convictions to bring the sentences down. Jamari's lawyer asked for 25 years and 10 months. Ashley's lawyer told the court she wholeheartedly regretted the incident and asked for 26 years and 9 months. The judge turned down all of it. Jamari got sentenced to 36 years and 8 months, while Ashley got 31 years and 9 months. They were 25 and 27 at sentencing and won't be walking out of prison until they're well past 50 years old. The people who knew Hector remembered him as a beloved son, brother, and friend whose life was full of promise and whose sudden death left a hole that nobody around him has been able to fill. His family showed up to every court date, stayed quiet through all of it, and let the process do what it was supposed to do. The two people who were convicted of murdering their son and brother are going to spend the next 30 decades in prison thinking about a heart emoji they sent in half a second. What do you think about this case? Do you think Hector could have seen any red flags that night? Let me know what you think in the comment section below.
I know it's kind of, I wouldn't say totally common practice, but it's not out of the ordinary to have people kind of engaging in something that might be like morally wrong in their eyes, right? And so like this guy, Brian, he might not want anybody to know that he's paying for, services, right? So for somebody to go there and get away with this, not performing their services, that's not uncommon for people to run games on people, right? Was that kind of what you guys were going for? Just a quick in and out because you figured you wouldn't have to perform anything, and then Jamari's gonna knock on the door?
That wasn't
What's your-
really the plan, but I just know that I didn't want to be there like the whole time.
Yeah. That wasn't the plan though? Like what was the whole plan? I mean, you obviously said you didn't want to have sex with him, and you know that's what he wants by the, we have the text messages between the two of you. Like, do you have you were asking him if he has condoms and everything else, like.
Because I don't remember what I said to him, but if that's what I said to him, it was just because I wanted to make him believe that I was.
Right. So you could get paid. Right. So you get paid. You send the heart. Jamari knocks on the door. You. So here's the apartment, right? Or the hotel room, right? So let's say it's like this, right? Door is, well, that's kind of weird, but anyway, door's right here.
For the room?
Yeah, window is over here. This is the window, right? You come in the door this way. TV stand is right here, and then the bed is kind of right here. There's a chair right there. There's like a dresser right here and a nightstand right here.
Sorry, that was like right here when I left.
They were just standing right there. And that's really tight. That's a tight area. Where were you before that?
I was sitting on the corner of the bed.
By the nightstand over here? Okay. There was a drink on the stand there?
Mine.
That was your drink? Okay. So you're over here. Brian goes to the door, lets Jamari in, and you're sitting over here still? You never got up?
I stood up.
You stood up. And then, so Brian, now there's like a tile area right here. There's like a tile entrance there, and here's like the bathroom door. Goes to the bathroom. Right? And then you're kind of over here. So Brian was sitting next to you originally when you guys were touching or whatever, and he was touching your face. You're sitting right next to each other. Jamari knocks. So he gets up and walks over here. Can you see him at the door?
No.
Did you get up to, like, when you got up and you walked, you didn't see
I got
him?
up back and see him.
Okay, so you kind of just stood up in this area?
Cool.
Yeah. You kind of just stood up over here and you were blocked by that wall. So how does Jamari come into the room?
Straight.
But does he just push past Ryan? Just kind of pushes past him? And then he just goes straight deep into the room? And then what does Brian do?
Nothing, just like where he was going on.
But does he kind of follow him?
Yeah.
Or does he like...
He just walks that way.
Just trailing him like, hey bro, what's up? Like type of thing? Okay, so and then they both end up standing right in front of the bed. So like Brian would be here and Jamari here, type of thing. And then you're still over here at this time?
I left.
So you just walk right out. So you just go straight out the door. And you didn't hear their conversation?
No.
It wasn't heated?
No.
Because the neighbors said that they heard some thumping going on.
I wasn't in there.
You didn't hear any of that? They weren't fighting before you left?
No.
Okay. So then you come out. So you're gone, you go to the elevator, and you go downstairs, and you're walking out. About 2 minutes or 3 minutes later, I think it is, so like 2 or 3, he's the video expert, he knows all the times. 2 or 3 minutes, he's got the elevator back upstairs, he's down, and he's out.
Okay.
Jamari. And then you're out into the parking lot somewhere, and then he comes walking down past the clerk, and then he runs up trying to catch up to you with one shoe on. One shoe's left at the apartment, or the hotel room. So when you're driving, you didn't take anything out of the hotel room at that point. You just got your money on your phone, and you're out. Okay. So you never touched Brian's phone, and you don't know what happened with Brian's phone?
No.
Okay. So you take off, you're in the car. Who has the car keys?
Pretty sure him.
Okay, so you couldn't get in the car until he showed up? So you're not in the car waiting for him, you're just walking to the car probably still because he's running to catch up to you? Okay. And then he runs, catches up to you. You ask him what happened?
Yeah, he said nothing. Let's go home.
That's it? Just nothing, let's go home. Did you ever Google any of this to see what happened at the motel? Or there's nothing like that? You never searched anything? Do you think he ever searched it? Did he ever say anything about like
No.
Holiday Inn or anything?
No.
Press 9 if you're...
Yeah, you guys you said you kind of live together, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the most part.
Mm-hmm.
He still maintains that other residence though?
Yep.
That other apartment? How's he pay for that?
I'm not sure. I think it's a voucher his mom had.
Okay. But when did his mom pass away?
I just turned the year this year, so.
A year? Okay. Okay. So then you guys get in your car. Which way do you leave?
I don't remember. He was driving.
Okay. Do you know 509?
I don't know. I normally, when I don't know where I'm at, I just use navigation, but I wasn't.
Do you know the back way to Tacoma?
No.
From up in Federal Way? Where you go down by the water? By the junkyards and stuff, and then you come across that big bridge into Tacoma?
I'm not sure. I don't really need like over there.
Okay. When you're driving away, I know you said you didn't touch his phone, but the phone was on the passenger side of the car on the road where we found it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because the GPS was on the phone when he was driving away, and then it was tossed out about Portland Avenue on the passenger side of the car.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm trying to go over some of these details with my partner here, trying to figure out how you don't know that he's throwing something out the window to get on the passenger side of the car if you're in the passenger seat.
Because after a while, I wanted to drive for him because he was just like that.
So you drove away from the place?
No, he did, and then I just wanted to finish driving because I put my GPS after to get home.
Where did you start driving at?
Before the freeway.
Before the freeway? Because you get right on the freeway, right at that hotel.
No.
Also, click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.